I've been playing in bands for about the last 15 years or so, mostly metal and rock, and almost exclusively in like the immediate area that I live. And in that immediate area, I've seen a lot of places to play, come and go, bars, basements, all sorts of places to play. But there was one in particular that was around about 10 or so years ago. It was around for maybe like 2 years in total, and it was my absolute favorite place to go to and to play. This place was actually out by the airport, like 10 or 15 minutes outside of the city, which was actually kind of cool because it felt like, a little isolated. It was like in the middle of nowhere, sort of. So I think that kind of added to the general vibe of the place, where it was like no rules. It was a big place, kind of separated into two rooms, the bar and the showroom. And then they were connected by a little hallway, and that's where the bathrooms were. The bar was actually kind of not like a decent bar, I mean, nothing special, but just like a nice big old wooden bar and a bunch of TVs, lots of seats. It was not a bad place to hang out in. The showroom, however, was a completely different animal. This was the grossest room I've ever been in. It's just like, you could feel like the ghosts of wasted past, just kind of, like it was, some shit had gone down in that room. The carpet, the whole room was carpet, and it's the only carpet I've ever encountered that was sticky, like totally sticky. I'm talking, you put your foot down and you're peeling it off, and it's like sticky. It's a sticky carpet. There was a futon pushed against one of the walls that was also pretty sticky. And I heard that was where the owner slept sometimes. And that's literally the only thing I've ever heard about the owner. I've never even heard that guy's name before. So the showroom is basically just a big, open, gross room, futon on one side. The other side had some tables that like bands could set up merch on if they wanted. And then in the corner was like a tiny L-shaped bar that the sound guy would set up on. The sound guy is actually who I would talk to about putting shows on. I would put shows on sometimes for my band and my friends' bands because it was just easier than dealing with local promoters. And it was cool because it was like, I don't care what kind of music you're playing, but if like we're all friends, then it's like 25 friends hanging out by the airport being loud. So then like all their friends are going to come. So like the shows usually worked out pretty well. And this place was the absolute best place to put shows on that I've ever dealt with in my entire life. There was no room rental fee, and they didn't take any percentage of the door. So it was basically completely free to put shows on there, which is insane. I've never heard of that outside of like someone's basement, Actually, the sound guy would ask for money at the end of the show, but never more than $40. And so I would always just give him double what he asked because he was a really nice dude, and he was the reason we were putting shows on at this place. This place was like international waters. There was no rules. There was one bartender working at any time, and that was it. Other than the sound guy, who's like sort of an employee, it was just one person working the entire place. So there was no security or like any kind of like adult figure to make sure everybody kept in line and acting like a normal adult. My band had a smoke machine that we like to use when we played, but most venues hate smoke machines because they're annoying. And with this place, obviously, like you could just do whatever you wanted. So we would rip that smoke machine every time we would play. And this time in particular, we had a friend of ours working the button, and I could see him from where I was playing. For the first song or two, he's just, cranking on the button, and the room is full of smoke. We're playing in a cloud. He's like just on the edge of my line of vision, because then it's just like a wall of smoke. It was wild. It was actually pretty cool to play in, but it's very kind of like disorienting almost. But I see him there. He's sitting in this cloud, and we're starting like the third song, and he's kind of like looking around, and I can see him like calculating and like scheming in his head, and then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Reaches into his pocket, grabs a cigarette, throws it in his mouth, lights it up, and then is just like puffing on his cigarette. And this is 10 years after smoking in bars was made illegal. So he's just ripping that cigarette now, blasting the smoke machine button. And, you know, people are moving around, and people see him smoking a cigarette, and then like, you know, people are like, you can smoke in here? So suddenly there's just 10, 15 people ripping cigarettes the entire show. The wildest show we ever played there was on a St. Patrick's Day. And the bar was open at 8 in the morning that day for Kegs and Eggs. And if you don't know what Kegs and Eggs is, it's basically an excuse for bars to open up at like 7 or 8 in the morning, have like a weird gross pile of like soggy pancakes and old rubber eggs, and then just people pounding pitchers, getting G-force wasted St. Patrick's Day morning. On this St. Patrick's Day, Kegs and Eggs got so wild and people got so ham-boned that a couple people went into the bathrooms and tore the urinals off of the walls and completely removed them from the bathroom. I'm talking holes in the wall, no urinal at all. So the bar's like, well, we got a show tonight. We got to figure out an alternative. So they got, you know, those like, I don't know, like 30-gallon big plastic totes. They just got 2 of those and put those in front of where the urinals were supposed to be. And every so often, the bartender or the sound guy would just go grab one of the buckets, just empty it into the parking lot and go put it back. The bartender, and I don't blame her given the situation I just explained, and I'm pretty sure she was bartending Kegs and Eggs also, so it was a very long shift, but she was hammered. She's drinking Budweiser, she's doing shots with everybody, just people buying her shots, she's buying people's shots. She had one of those vaporizers, you know those old wooden vaporizers with like the long tube? She had one of those under the bar. She's just like, not shockingly, the actual toilet in the men's room gets clogged. The bass player in my band is the one that finds it, or most likely the one that gives a shit and will tell someone. The bartender, who's the only person to tell. So he goes, hey, the toilet's clogged. You know, just doing the T-Rex. Come show me, sugar. Whiskey voice. Like, this lady was a character. So she makes him bring him to the bathroom and show her where the toilet is. She looks at the toilet. She looks at my friend. She looks at the toilet. Pauses for 1 second, takes her hand, plunges it right in there, fishes around, takes care of the clog, flushes the toilet. Problem solved. My friend is absolutely horrified. I don't think you should do that. She shh, like right the shh. Nobody has to know, sugar. My fucking friend freaks out, runs out of the bathroom. I don't know, probably chug bleach. She goes back to the bar and continues working like that was normal behavior of a human being. A little bit after that, right before we were gonna play, I went to the bar to get a water and a beer, and this lady is passed out, slumped in a chair, done for the night. People are kind of like self-serving themselves now, just grabbing whatever drinks and then leaving whatever money they felt was appropriate for the time. People were actually leaving money, which I thought was interesting, but it's not really a sustainable business model. Not too long after that shit show, actually. They stopped doing shows there. They were going to class the place up. And then not too long after that, they closed down. I found out before I made this video, I Googled the place and I found out that they were busted for serving minors, which is the least shocking thing I've ever heard. There was a lot of stories that came out of that place, though, and a lot of good shows, actually. So it was really cool while it lasted. It's nice to go to a place that's a little dangerous and a little weird every once in a while. And I kind of wish that there were more places like that. Hey, thanks for watching that video. I really appreciate it. If you really liked it, can you really like it and maybe subscribe and ding that bell and do whatever else it is you got to do? And if you want, here's some more videos that you can watch. And then at the end of those videos is going to be this video, because time's an endless circle or whatever.